drinking energy drinks and eating like chocolates.
No, we're painting the picture of a D&D pot.
Just my favourite part from IT crowd. Standard nerds. That's one of my favourite part of that. Okay, so do we want to get back to the adventure we're going on?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. If we remember last week, we had our adventurers who had met in combat earlier against some ice crags and a mysterious shard of ice or glass. Post-battle, we had Svieta and Horacio helping out various townfolk, actually doing loops of the town looking for possibly injured or people that were in need of assistance getting back to their homes.
We cut a lap.
Cut a bit of a lap. And then at the end of that, they went back to the battle site and did a little bit of sort of, I would like to, as I said, CSI 10 Towns. CSI Icewind Dale.
Well, I've got the perfect name, don't I? All I need is a pair of sunnies.
Yeah, so we did a little bit of investigation, finding out what might have happened there and how it came to be. At the same time, Wodun and Carnelian had gotten into the mead hall. Carnelian doing a little bit of a performance to maybe take a bit of the edge off of the tension in the town. And Wodun forcibly rescuing, I think is probably the right terminology.
Probably accurate.
A woman in town and brought them to the mead hall. They were looking to go home, but now they're in the mead hall.
You're welcome.
And after a bit of back and forth with one of the more prominent townsfolk, Shanda, Wodun approached Carnelian and started pitching this idea of some sort of adventuring group, party, team, and was thoroughly engaged then in conversation with Carnelian as Horacio and Svieta entered the tavern. Eventually you all sort of met up and you've sort of had a little bit of a light introduction as a group. You sort of were fighting with each other not an hour ago. And Olyvessa approached the table again, I say table, the barrel that you're all sitting around with Carnelian sitting on top. And she says something to the effect of, I wanted to talk to you about something if you had a bit of the time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Svieta. It's good to see you, actually.
Yes. I'm glad you didn't get attacked or hurt.
Yes, well, it looks like all of you copped the brunt of it from what I could see.
Indeed. And you know of no one else who's been injured?
We've done the rounds. I think you've more thoroughly probably seen through the town more so than anyone else. I haven't had any reports of deaths, which is quite astonishing, really.
Good.
Doesn't appear that anyone has been seriously injured.
Very good.
I thank you all for taking up arms in a moment of need to protect the citizens of the town. But, be it as it may, I thought I might, since you seem to have been quite handy together, I wanted to have a bit of a chit-chat if possible. There's a lot of issues we face in the town currently, and maybe there's something that I could talk to you about. Maybe we could help me out here. Yes?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, all is.
Well, as you know, our beloved speaker Kendrick recently passed, and he died protecting what is probably considered the most key export of good mead. The mead, in fact. A lot of other towns across 10 towns rely on our deliveries to make it their way, to make life easier out here in the Icewind Dale. Of course, without that shipment going out, I'm afraid that potentially people... I think people are stretched quite thin with this endless winter we seem to be facing from... Well, I won't mention it, but... In any case, I'm left with a conundrum. We had the delivery attacked by some monstrous creature, a giant of a creature, that killed Kendrick, and it's really quite frightening. And a lot of our drivers are frankly quite afraid to make another run. At the same time, I need to send something out. Good mead depends on its delivery to the rest of 10 towns for its survival, as we no longer have any other kind of supporting export here, except for some small fisheries that give us a little bit of local food, but generally we trade with the other towns. We trade for mead. So you can see the conundrum I'm in. I've got some scared drivers, I've got some dangerous creatures, and I have delivery to try and send out on behalf of the town.
Talk about a buzzkill.
Hey.
Oh, jeez.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, you don't have kids, do you?
No.
I think you might want to look into some of your past. Yes, a buzzkill.
That was
That
me.
was our character.
That
yes.
was all me.
So you're offering protection jobs?
Well, I'm not quite sure at the moment. I'm not really sure what you can all offer, to be honest. I just know that I need to make deliveries out, and I think I was going to pose it to you and see what you wanted to do with it.
Well, Olyvessa, I think you know what I can offer, but I'll let these newcomers answer for themselves.
Thank you, Wodun. What about the rest of you? Is there something that you might be able to do to help out? We can't do a whole lot in the course of recompense, but we can offer at least some warm places to stay and maybe some free mead for a 10-day or so.
Any salves?
Sorry?
Any salves?
Healing medicines. Actually, I think
Any
Svieta might
salves?
be good at finding some of the herbs you might need, if I recall correctly.
Herbs.
I could put a... What was that?
Nothing, just keep going.
Oh my god. I'm sure I could put the call out, though, to some of the locals who collect some healing herbs. Are you needing something in particular?
Yes, I've got not all of it, but I have used a little bit of my supply in the recent battle protecting your town. So that would be nice.
I can put the call out. You're wanting to, in game terms, you're wanting to recharge your healer's kit.
Yes,
Yeah.
as payment. That's
As
what
a bit
I'm
of
asking
payment.
for. Yeah.
I'm sure that can be arranged if we're able to do something. Yes, I'm quite sure we could do something.
Oh, actually, while we're on the topic,
Yes,
I'll
You like salves?
I'll kind of move my cloak to the side, and I've got a little cut in my side.
Oh,
I think you missed a spot.
let me see to that, and I'll immediately tend to him.
Do you actually have hit points?
I
on
actually
it?
do, yeah.
Yeah. yes.
Shit.
You can use a charge to.
I'm going to
yeah.
use a healer's kit on him immediately.
Sure.
I got this other card right here.
Didn't you got healed though? Didn't you?
I did, yeah.
So
it's
like
fine.
healer's kit's only good for until you have another short rest for the same person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will survive with my card.
Okay.
Your broken heart.
And Carnelian's not hurt. I don't think.
Here we go.
Carnelian was hurt.
Was her?
Whoa!
But you were
But-
also already healed as well, weren't you?
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why I rolled the d20, but that's a significant amount of healing.
Hell
If you-
yeah.
I'm gonna DM call it not allowed.
Let's try a d6.
Maybe a D6.
Do I get like temporary
Oh,
shields?
here we go.
Should heal a cut.
That's a 1 plus 5 is 6.
That's more than enough, baby.
It's 1 plus wisdom plus character level.
So last time I think we got to the point where it was 5 total because of the healer feat, but I'll double check it.
I think that's something right because it does scale a little bit with your level, not a lot. Let's see. So you get the
1d6 plus 4 plus additional HP equal to the creature's maximum number of hit dice. So at level 1 that's 1d6 plus 5.
yes, that's correct. Yeah. So minimum 6. Actually, that's a very potent heal at this level.
Oh, bless.
I think it's a little bit less potent as he goes on, but it's still going to do you well for a number of levels. Okay. Yep. So you're tracking your charges though separately, so I'll let you do that.
Yes.
Well, Carnelian sees better in the dark than any human. Carnelian is also handy with a sword.
Quite. Okay. I do know Svieta has a number of skills that subdue her well in surviving the wilderness. I clearly have seen Horacio's ability for healing, and I, of course, know Wodun's specialities. You make a good group. I guess it just...
have some gossip to share with us about Wodun.
Wodun's right here.
He does not prescribe to subtlety.
Well, maybe we talk about it later. But anyway, what do you think you can... I mean, look, I've got to send a delivery out soon, so... I don't know what I'm going to do. I either have to try and calm scared drivers or replace them. I've got to do something about the situation, or inevitably we're probably going to have to put some word out to bigger towns maybe. As you know, several of the town militia were sent out after the Verbeeg and never returned. We're not willing to send any more at this moment either. There's a number of things that could be done. I just don't have the resources to do it. I'm not the town speaker. I'm just here trying to keep things together.
I've been waiting for you to ask, and we will go and kill the Verbeeg.
Svieta, roll me a nature check with advantage.
Sure. Nature?
Yeah. With
19.
19.
Whoa.
So you haven't been in town, obviously, in the last few days when Kendrick died. But hearing that the attack was sort of carried out by a Verbeeg, that makes you very uncomfortable. That's a dangerous creature that you're talking about there.
Did I notice her? Were there any visible signs of discomfort or
Would have been like just
fear
that
or anything?
irritated ear twitch.
Just an ear flick?
It's like, oh god. And like eye dilation.
I mean, look, whatever, you just know that I'm just going to tell you, just it's a dangerous task to do something like that, particularly in the creatures. Possibly if you're trying to find its lair or something like that, it's a dangerous creature to go up against.
Carnelian's not very familiar with the kind of monster. Are they like what is their usual behavior?
I think I'd let Svieta probably go with it from there, but with that particular check, so Verbeegs tend to be fairly solitary. They may still come in a group of 2 or 3 though. They are, I'm going to make sure I get this right, large creatures of giant subtype. They're quite hardy and they can dish out some real pain if you get close to them. So just giving you guys the full context of that. You don't think they have anything special in the way of like special abilities. They're just big and tough, and there'd be a lot to handle.
Just for descriptive sake as well, do you mind describing what they look like?
Let's see. Verbeeg are giants that resemble oversized humans with gangly limbs and elongated faces. Some have other features that give them a fearsome aspect. Verbeeg craft their own weapons and armor. They prefer thrown spears above all other weapons. Verbeeg usually has several spears for that purpose. So they're sort of like just oversized, rough, scruffy, but like gangly men. If you think of men that are probably more like 9 feet tall, or maybe even
So
Spooky
like
ass.
Slender Man?
maybe not quite that slender. I hope not that
Medium
slender.
man.
Being that they're giants, they're probably a bit more broad than that. They still have more proportions like a human, but they're just a bit longer limbed, like drawn like that sort of long face.
Where is the destination of this delivery going to?
We have a number of different destinations, but probably the one that comes to mind might be might be trying to get some mead to Carnelian. I believe they haven't been getting their deliveries at all recently, which must be putting them on a little bit of a tight schedule. Or not tight schedule, it must be making their citizens a bit uncomfortable. I was trying to see if we could get delivery out there, and unfortunately with the attack on the delivery, most of that mead is now gone. We can only send maybe one small delivery out to Carnelian, and if it's going to go out anywhere, and if it's going to go anywhere, I think Carnelian is a good place to go. Of course, that could be a few days' travel from here. Just I would have to check. It would be a bit of a trip, of course.
I'm up for it.
Yes, I would like to go back to Carnelian.
You probably, and you've known that you're there, especially if you have to take a delivery of something, it probably would be at least a couple days out to Carnelian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice place.
And don't let me, you can go after the Verbeeg or anything like that. I'm just trying to give you guys full context of that. And where else, what else you want to do. So if you're offering and she's like, well, so you think that you would like to replace the delivery drivers?
Well, as long as I'm outside of the temple, I'm happy. So
Taking a bit of a sabbatical then, by the sounds of it.
well, I think a sabbatical implies that there's some kind of permanent. No, I've been in quarantine too long.
We have to stop mentioning that. I'm sure that will get us struck for something.
Dating the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I'm just happy to be out.
Well, certainly it would put people at ease if maybe a delivery would go out successfully, and I would feel a bit better if it was some hardy folk. I think that we might actually have a few days reprieve from any attacks of a creature that size. It took such a great big delivery from us. We might be able to get you out of town and on your way, and maybe by the time you come back, you'll have a bit more success, a bit more things you want to do. I don't know.
And then we kill the Verbeeg.
Well, I certainly think that would help us out a lot, yes.
Well, I'm happy to go along with the group. If we want to do the delivery first, or if we want to go straight for the Verbig, it's all freedom to me.
Sounds like Carnelian probably wants the delivery, by the sounds of it.
Carnelian's not too keen on giant hunting, particularly as something that is about 10 feet tall is about 4 times his height.
Yeah, it's as large. It might not be quite 10 feet, but it's near enough, 8 to 9 feet tall.
Carnelian is also quite happy to do a lot of things for a warm place to stay, or food, or both.
Certainly, I think Olyvessa is promising at least maybe a bit of that when you return to Goodmead if you're successful. Svieta, you'd like to do that as well?
Yeah, I did. I mentioned that I would like to go back to Cape
Yeah.
Conic. Or
Sounds like
Svieta
you
would anyway.
Well, Wodun, unless you want to make a strong case for hunting the Verbeeg, that's what they're proposing.
That's fine. I'll go with you guys.
And look, not to put too fine a point, there are dangers out in the wilderness and on the ways, the to and from towns. So having stout adventurers do something like this is probably going to be good for the town to get some confidence back.
Indeed.
In their regularly scheduled delivery of alcohol.
It'll be a good warm up. When does the delivery? When does it leave?
Well, I wasn't planning to go for a little while, but whenever you're ready, I suppose I could get together a delivery quite quickly. When would you like to leave? It's still probably around 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning at the moment.
How do we know?
It's hard to tell, isn't it? Because it's perpetual dawn, really. But it's been perpetual dawn for at least a few hours, so you probably think that it's around that sort of mid-morning-ish.
It's been perpetual dawn for a few hours.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn to Wodun very hesitantly with my question for him.
Sure.
Is the very big what you were going to offer Carnelian to hunt as well, or something else?
Oh, that was another thing, but I'll wait till Olyvessa's finished.
Well,
Of course.
well, I am somewhat finished, and if you want to tell me when you wish to go, I can talk to delivery drivers or anyone else and get something together when you wish to go.
Well,
Carnelian sees no reason to wait.
Okay.
I'm ready.
agreed.
Sure. I will get. I'll get that together. If you want to leave in the next hour or so, you can make some good time before nightfall.
But nightfall?
Well, yes, it still becomes night at a certain point.
Okay.
I would hazard a guess you may even get just past Cardinaval if you make good time, depending on the weather. That may be a stopping point for you, or somewhere else along the road, depending. I will leave that up to you. Obviously, the towns expect regular delivery, and maybe it would be good to advise them that we've had some problems recently. That would maybe smooth over some relations with some of the other towns. There's not any kind of speaker meeting, as far as I'm aware, anytime soon. Of course, Kendrick usually gets Kendrick used to get delivery of mail that would tell him when council of speakers would be getting together. I guess we'll have to try and figure out who will become the new speaker as well at some point soon.
Has the news of Kendrick's passing been provided to the Cares?
We sent word, of course, to Bryn Shander to have, as it turns out, Horacio come and give Kendrick his last rites, and I would imagine that some of the information that Shander wrote about to Bryn Shander, I don't know why they called this person Shander and the town Bryn Shander, but I think some word has gotten to that major town, but yes, nothing formal has gotten to anywhere else.
Well, if we can help smooth over relations, I'm sure that could ease some unnecessary bloodshed. So
Anything you can do will help us out at the moment.
Well,
Right. Well, I'll get a delivery ready within the hour.
Olyvessa, before you go,
Yes.
this road.
The east way.
You mentioned it's treacherous. Yes.
Yes, it can be quite treacherous. I mean, any of the roads between towns can be treacherous. You have many dangers of wild animals, creatures. If I were you, if you're finding a place to stay for the night, I'd try to find somewhere safe. If you're out in the wilderness, make sure you find shelter. Of course, the weather can turn on a moment's notice and turn bad very quickly into blizzards and whiteouts that can cause you to get lost or even worse. And then there are the more human dangers, thieves, bandits, all that kind of thing, especially when you're delivering mead, tends to be a common occurrence, unfortunately.
So you mentioned it's a couple of days travel. Yes.
Depending on the weather, of course.
Would there maybe be somewhere to stop along the way?
Could be, depending on how much good time you make before nightfall. You could end up in Carnelian if that's around about 8 hours, maybe a bit longer, to the north, and it's on the way to Carconic.
Oh, it's different. Okay.
Yeah, Carnelian and Carconic, named for the two different fortresses that were built in, or castles that were built in those areas. Of course, they're not really used that way anymore. Those towns are a little bit bigger than Goodmead, but surprised you don't have that much experience with the Icewind Dale. We didn't really get a chance to talk when you came in last night.
I have very little outside of Bryn Shander, and specifically the temple, the house of the Morning Lord.
I see.
Yes. Any information you might have that could help us in our journey would be most appreciated.
You know what? I think I can do something about that. I will. I'll get one of our local goods traders to maybe see if he can dust off a map of the Icewind Dale. Might be handy to you.
That would be wonderful.
I know Svieta knows her way around quite well, but it's always handy to have a map.
I would, with the the treacherous journey in mind, would there be any chance I could get a salve or two in advance?
Let me put out the word. You've certainly done a lot for the town already, and you haven't asked for any kind of payment. Yes, let me see what I can do, and I'll see what I can do. So, out in game terms, how many charges are you down?
I'm down 4.
Down 4 out of 10?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. No worries. I will roll a d4, and we'll see how much you get back.
Okie dokie.
But I'll roll that just before we go to the delivery. Is there anything else anyone needs from me before I go and organize this delivery for you?
No.
I'll give you an official script. It'll have to be co-signed, of course, probably by Shander, just to let them know that you are the official delivery drivers of this particular one.
Does your name or Shander's name carry reputation in those places, be it good or bad?
As much as it can. Shander seems to have a bit of a name for himself in some of the larger towns, although I don't know how.
Would it be best to not mention his name?
No, you should.
People love Shander. I love Shander. He's a vote one. Vote one, Shander. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Thanks for the Wodun. And she sort of like Yes, of course. Of course. Look, my name carries as little weight as it probably can without being a speaker. People know me here in town. I grew up here in Goodmead after all. And some people know me in some of the other places. So, really, we're the only... Between the two of us, we're sort of the only ones that people will probably recognize in other towns if you go to any sort of leadership there.
I see.
Anyone else want to ask Olyvessa anything? Alright. Okay, good day to you all. I'll get delivery ready. See me at the back of the Mead Hall in about an hour. I should have something together for you. Maybe a little bit longer to get that map and a bit of healing herbs.
Salve.
Salve, yes.
Thank you, Olyvessa.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
She parts ways.
Well, anyway... kind of stood on my toes a little bit there, but I'm putting together an elite team. And we're going to go out and we're going to end this endless winter that has befallen 10 towns. And I think you are just the party I need to achieve this. What say you? I've already got a yes from the kobold.
Did you?
Pretty sure I got a yes from the kobold.
He just says yes anyway.
Carnelian was sure they'd just asked for how they'd be paid, but I guess that's close to a yes.
There'll be plenty of food. Lots of food.
Carnelian's unsure on the how of your journey.
Well, that's what I need to find out.
Oh,
It'll be an adventure.
Well, for what it's worth, Wodun, if there's an opportunity to help out this place, this forsaken place, I'm in. I'm all for it.
I like your attitude. And you, Svieta?
sorry.
I genuinely don't know, but audience, I genuinely don't know if Andrew forgot Jen's character's name or if that was it sounds so much like a Wodun thing to do.
Me and Wodun have very similar intelligence.
That's so Wodun.
So Wodun. So Wodun.
I'm not convinced. Why do you have such a vested interest in this? Why are you asking people? Why am I German now?
You have experience switch from Russian to German.
No, I can't do accents.
Your vested interest?
I want you to continue. That is all really fun, so keep to it.
Okay.
Yeah, German is fun. Don't you forget it. 9.
I'm very sorry to any German listeners out there.
Oh, don't worry.
I'm not.
Anyway, sorry, what was that again?
Your vested
I was just
interest. Yeah.
I was just going to ask if you're in.
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Don't like your attitude as much.
Oh, that's very rude of you to say. I just want to know why you doing this?
Well, I have some gifts, and I was sent here. I'll admit it, but I would have come anyway because I wanted to. But my adventuring guild sent me here to this small town in the freezing cold. Because they believe in me, and that's why they thought that I would be the perfect man to send all the way out here by myself in the freezing wilderness. And I plan to accomplish the mission that they have bestowed upon me.
I'm going to assume this is not a stealth mission.
I mean, we can make it a stealth mission.
No, it is utterly impossible to do. But I will join
Hey,
you.
I can be very quiet if I want to.
I will join you because Horacio is going and I'm going to learn some things.
I'll take it.
I really like this cute little mentor-mentee relationship for Svieta and Horacio.
Yeah.
Senpai Horatio.
So you're gonna go
It's your
investigating
Yeah.
the cause of the winter?
Yes. That's correct. Why am I German now?
I don't know. Everyone seems to be
It's
dropping
spreading.
in and out of accents.
I have a question. As a guild.
What is your question?
The guild that sent you, what guild is it?
You probably haven't heard of it. I'm not from around here.
Oh.
Have you ever been to Losken?
Went there. I maybe went there once with my parents.
Yes. Well, you probably don't know it.
Luskan is a relatively well-known town along the Sword Coast, probably further north from Baldur's Gate.
I'm pretty sure Luskan is the northernmost town on the
Yes.
Sword Coast.
Before coming to the 10 towns.
So I actually literally probably went through it on my
Quite
journey up here
possibly,
from
yeah.
Baldur's Gate.
Or at least passed close enough that you would have heard maybe a name or two. If you hadn't have spent any time passing through, it's quite possible that you'd been
I see.
around.
So
You probably know a little bit.
It's a very
See?
forgettable town. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
This is why you have the DM and then other people that know the table.
Yes.
The 20 years of knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Coming out strong.
Also 20 years?
No, definitely not. Especially not lore-wise. But I did some research before I started, surprisingly.
Luskin.
Well, it's called the Swords of the North.
That is not true.
Just go with it.
I made it up.
It is to Wodun.
Yes.
It is now.
What's it called?
Yeah, so once Wodun says it's the Sword of the North, Horatio, you're like, I'm pretty sure it was the city of Sales, if I remember correctly.
The city.
No, that's Losken, isn't it?
That is Luskan.
I thought, yeah. This
Oh,
is the
you-
name of the guild.
The guild, yeah.
Sure.
What guild is what? So, what is the name of the guild?
It's the Swords of the... What did I say?
The
Swords of the North.
Sorry,
I
got
say
confused
very
when you what the
confidently.
city was.
I see.
Have you heard of it?
No, I
I
can't
didn't
say.
think so.
I've heard of Luskan, of course, but not the Sword of the North.
Well, we're the number 2 adventuring guild in Losken.
Something to prove.
Yes.
Who is number one?
We don't say their name.
Oh, okay. Are you wanting to make this the start of your journey from when we go to Donovan?
Caer Conic?
No, what was the other one?
Caer Dinaval?
Yeah, Donovan.
So Caer Dinaval's on the way to Caer Conic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be a checkpoint.
Yeah, cool.
Look, I just need to get it done. The time is not of the essence. My quest is to save this city from this winter and report back to the guild. And they'll all be proud of me, finally. All be proud of me.
Well, I can sense that you're a good man, Wodun, so I'm with you.
I like you. I like this guy.
He's a good man.
I just said that, yeah.
I like how you have a very easy and attainable goal here in the Dale, ending the never-ending winter that's been consumed it for the last couple of years.
Easy
Certainly
peasy.
sounds like something that could be done in about a day or two if you put your mind to
Mm-hmm.
it.
Certainly sounds like a main quest line.
Possibly.
Possibly.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss? But otherwise, we can move forward if you'd like.
No, I will approach. Would I know your name yet?
Carnelian has a habit of speaking in the third
He
person.
does indeed, so I would have gathered, yes. So, Carnelian, that ice shard that you broke, did you notice anything unusual about it before you broke it, or as you broke it?
Only that it appeared to be the source of the fog and the freezing winds.
I see. Well, we should keep an eye out for more. I suspect that is the first of many. But I did collect the pieces, so for what it's worth. I, for one, am thirsty. I may wear these robes, but I don't necessarily follow their ways, so I'm going to get a mug of mead.
Yeah, so you actually going to order something? It's still 9 in the morning.
I'm pretty much Sister Act, so
Yeah.
I wear the stuff, but it ain't me, baby.
Alright.
That doesn't really make sense, I'm sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, sure. So you can approach the nominal bar and get yourself something as well.
Yes.
Do you want... Are you just going to be sitting around this barrel that...
If the conversation ceases, Carnelian will go back to playing something a bit more upbeat this time.
Okay. So you've left the table. Wodun's probably still.
I've just realised I've got one more stop before we head out. I've got to go home and grab Beef Cliff.
Who?
And I'll turn around and head towards the door.
Do you give any context for that? No.
No.
Svieta, is there anything you'd like to do then, knowing that you're probably going to be going in about an hour or so again from town?
No, I'm just going to find a chair and watch Carnelian. Just in utter shock of Wodun and his existence.
Sure.
Is that you working the tambourine, like in support?
Yeah.
I like it.
This beyond with tambourine,
Shaking
backing vocals.
My 2 sticks that I still have with me. Just
So
shaking them.
cat bell that's around her neck.
Talk about my cat now.
Okay. So a little bit of time passes. Carnelian's a little bit more upbeat, and again, make me another performance check.
At this stage, I've come back with my need, and I'm listening in as well.
Ah, well, that's a natural 20.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
it's time to listen.
Yes, absolutely. So you start playing; it's more upbeat, and as you definitely find that you have the effect of people sort of they've definitely worn off the jitters now, and as the music does start to build, people start clapping, people start sort of singing along with parts they know or think they know. It's not nighttime; it's not like a nighttime meet thing, but it's sort of like a post-event thing where everyone's sort of glad that they're just sort of breathing a sigh of relief, and they're a little bit of maybe in a bit of a celebratory mood even. The mead starts flowing a little bit easier than probably it would, and the crowd gets a little bit on your side. So, yep.
Upon hearing this inspiring performance, I would actually go back to the bar and order another mug of mead. And
Okay.
Just place it on the barrel.
On the
Beers start coming and they don't stop coming.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I think Carnelian, you've been offered some mead as well. Svieta, is there anything you'd like to do then, or are you just continuing the backing vocals, or
my little tambourine. No, I am probably gonna get a. I'm probably gonna get a mead as well and just sip it while I watch Carnelian play.
So I'm going to say that you, at some point, rather than standing directly around the barrel around Carnelian, you might make your way to a small table nearby and sit down together and start drinking and maybe discussing the way through. From thinking about it, I think Svieta is probably the most knows the most about 10 towns in general, so she can start sort of talking a little bit about the route up there if you're following the road. I assume when you head out of town, do you normally follow the road? Do you normally track through the wilderness?
Oh no, follow the road.
Follow the road.
Yeah.
So she knows a little bit about it's just roughly about 8 hours to Caer Dineval, but also the weather could turn at any moment. It's a danger here in the 10 towns, and that's why often people won't leave unless they've got a good reason to.
I'll ask Svieta. So Olyvessa said that the road is fraught with danger. You sound like you have experience on these roads.
Yes.
Is there anything we should be on the lookout for? Anything that I can do or that we can do that you can think of?
Probably there are some wolves.
Yeah.
Chewing wolves.
Sorry.
You said
Hells?
fools.
You were like,
Which is also
There's some fools on the road.
like what Olyvessa said, there are creatures that are out. I mean, especially now that food's more and more scarce. So
Yeah.
Hunters that would normally be more dormant in the winter and active in the summer, even though think of it like when it is summer normally in the Icewind Dale, it does get to be warm enough to melt snow. But it's still quite cold. It's still very far north. However, with the continued winter, now creatures that would normally be dormant are out and they're finding themselves hungry and desperate. So wolves, like big cats, like mountain cats and all that kind of stuff, they're a bit more agitated. Then there's also the more when we talk about beasts, and then beasts of a more magical nature. Sometimes those monsters are also getting more and more desperate as they're trying to survive themselves. So just general travel is dangerous from that aspect for sure.
And Sveta's like relayed all that basically.
Yep.
I see.
It's probably a smart choice to get salve first before we leave.
Always salve first. That's what I say.
Yeah,
Write that
tiny
down.
notepad.
Salve first, salve often.
Salve it every day.
Salvaday keeps the doctor away.
Brings the doctor in with the salve.
Do you theorize what the beef cliff might be?
I don't even want to think about it. I just want to see it.
Do you trust Wodun?
I do. I don't know why, but I do.
Oh, I don't know if you're a good judge of character or not.
I don't know if I am either, but I sense that he doesn't have anything to hide. I feel like what you see is what you get.
Yeah, you're probably right. He would tell you if he had sinister plans.
Definitely would. Definitely would.
I hope our little kobold friend can keep up.
He seems quite capable in the scrap.
But he has tiny legs.
He does. But he has long sword.
That's true. He's the size of
pointy.
body. Is it? Do you have a big sword? Not like that. Okay, sword.
Relatively.
Do you have your sword on you at the moment?
It's sheathed.
It's on.
But like
people back.
everything would be like in and around the barrel, close to Carnelian, so he can grab it at a moment's notice.
Okay, right. Guess I'll just wait for Wodun to return or for Shanda to come get us. Whichever comes first, honestly.
Yeah. So if you discuss that, discussing that, you feel like it's still, even with having roughly an hour to sit down and pick Sveta's brain about things, it's you just
A short rest, perhaps?
the more that Sveta sort of details some of the dangers out there, the more you're sort of realizing that it's no small task to just head out a couple of days travel away.
And I would say that, upon hearing Sveta talk about the dangers, Horacio is a little taken aback, but the enthusiasm still wins out, and the determination wins out. So he's still very much.
Yeah, Sveta's really
wanting
digging
to
into
go.
the harsh reality of the living up here.
Yeah, and
It's
just
probably the first time you've really seen it.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. Like, in this conversation is the first time I've basically spoken to a local and learnt about the place, because the people at the temple, they're an interesting bunch.
Well, even in Bryn Shanda, I mean, that's a bigger town, so you can almost seclude yourself away from the harsher realities of. And this is this first small town where they have to deal with that even as close to town as they are. Just the example of having an attack in sudden fog. You saw it in the. Actually, roll a insight check, just as a general.
Yeah, okay.
Wodun can do this as well if he feels like it.
16.
I'm not even here.
You think that you remember back onto the funeral when Olyvessa had suddenly obviously in the distance seen the fog rolling in, and very quickly turned into get shelter mode. So that makes you think hang on, you didn't think that these things were like a constant threat to this town, but just almost that innate sense of danger coming in. You feel like these smaller towns have to deal with this a lot more closer to home than maybe even a medium-sized town, or especially a large town that has a more organized, response to that kind of thing.
Yeah, and Bryn Shanda obviously is bigger, but it's also a walled city, isn't it?
If I remember correctly, let me check my notes, but I do believe it is a walled,
So
properly
there's that-
walled.
Yeah, so this is eye-opening for Horatio, but he's still keen.
And it's not like you're unfamiliar with small settlements in the rest of Faerun. I guess they just don't usually have the double whammy of a particularly harsh, cold winter as well to contend with.
And that's one of the reasons why his determination's been steeled, because he can see just how vulnerable these people are to being attacked, and how easily they could be killed.
Any moment. Okay, so is there anything else you want to find out about before we go? Carnelian still playing? Wodun still drinking?
No, I've taken a trip.
Oh, you've taken a trip. That's right, to find.
But as the conversation dies down, you feel like a cold breeze as the door opens, and Wodun comes confidently striding in over to the barrel again, and you notice he's got a large warhammer on his back now. That's probably almost as tall as him from the head of the hammer to the end of the hilt, if that's what you call it. And it's like a fairly intricate looking weapon. It's like wood with a lot of steel embellishments on it, I guess. And you also notice that his hair looks recently brushed and is now tied back, and he's got a nice scarf on.
I think it's the pommel is the word you're looking
Pommel,
for.
yeah, that sounds better.
Can I assume you're coming over to us.
Yep.
I'll just give you a sniff. Is that lavender?
I don't know what you mean.
Oh.
Smell.
Carnelian thought you were going to go get someone, not a...
Oh no, this is Beef Cliff, and I pull it off my back and like put it down on the top of the barrel. I never leave home without him, except when I'm going to a funeral.
That's an appropriate time not to have a hammer.
It's impressive.
Thank you.
It's bigger than our kobold friend here.
People always comment on the size of my Beef Cliff.
Oh.
Sorry, I had to.
We'll get comments, I'm sure. Okay, so Wodun and Beefcliff have entered.
Ready to go.
I don't even. Did you run this by me? Because I'm pretty sure you didn't. Okay. That's alright. We'll roll with it.
Beef Cliff answers to nobody.
Oh, jeez. Alright, so in that particular case, then, are you guys ready to go?
Yep.
Yes.
Carnelian will finish his performance and then drink the mead.
Skull.
Okay. How much mead has Carnelian had by this point? Would you say?
Just this one.
Okay.
One human-sized mead.
Probably as good as a couple. Okay. In that particular case, so after you guys finish with that conversation, Olyvessa and Shanda this time actually approach you and indicate that, yep, the delivery's good to go. So you all take your last rounds, down your last meads, and head out back, where you can see what looks like it's not really a cart; it's more of a sled, but it looks like it can fit the four of you on, being pulled by a number of dogs. But it's a very large one, so you can all fit like two people lying down, two people on the back, one person steering in particular. Who wants to be where in the cart?
Before we get on, I just wanted to approach Olyvessa and just inquire about the salve.
I wasn't going to forget your salve. So you said you were 4 shy. So I'm going to roll a d4, minus 1, minimum of 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever you got.
Whatever I got?
Yeah, you give me salve.
I can't give you exactly 4 pieces. That just seems like it's not really letting the dice tell the story.
Alright, what do you got?
3, so you can regain 2 charges.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Olyvessa. These salves will come in handy.
That's all we can scratch up within about the course of an hour. We'll see what we can do when you return.
Thank you.
Otherwise, and she... where is the damn thing? And then Shanda's like, I've got it. This is what you're looking for. Here, this might be useful. And he hands over, and I'm physically handing over to the players, a map. Look at maybe not the back of it, not the front of it. Has a map of Icewind Dale. Oh yeah, get that.
Nice.
That other
Nice.
side. There we go. Should put it like...
That looks like a barren wasteland.
Wow.
You are not wrong.
Where are we? Oh, yeah.
So this map does show a lot of things outside, but what you're probably mostly concerned about is the collection of 10 towns central to this map. So just for those who can't see, what we'll probably put up in the video that goes up, I'll just put a copy of the map that people can see. But for those listening, this map has probably the main features that you're probably concerned at is what's called the spine of the world, a range of mountains running from the east to the west on the southern end of the map that make almost an impassable mountain range. There's a small pass or trail that goes through there to primarily first to Bryn Shander, and then there are several other towns that's sort of almost in the four cardinal directions except for south. There are towns that are on various different lakes and shores, as well as just sometimes in the middle of nowhere. There's also a town near a larger mountain in the middle called Kelvin's Cairn. It's a bit separated from the spine of the world, so it's not there. You also have the Sea of Moving Ice to the northwest, and you've also got a glacier that takes up the northeast of this map as well. But they are not really marked locations, so probably the ones that you're most familiar with are the towns. Yes, on the back of that map, it has a number of town maps, but let's just concentrate on the front.
Is one of them called tacos?
It's not called Targos.
The 10 tacos.
Targos, yeah.
Close.
So, the rest of you then, is there anything you say your goodbyes to both Shander and Olyvessa? Who's driving?
I would offer to drive.
Okay, makes sense.
Does anybody have a handle animal skill?
It's a good question.
I do, in fact.
You get my vote for driving as well.
Yay!
Alright. So it looks like Svieta is going to be your pilot for the dogs. Pilot, driver.
Musher?
I know, I wouldn't say pilot. But he's going to be the driver. Where are the rest of you? There's probably one more spot next to Svieta on the back. There's a very large sled and a lot of dogs.
One might call it a sleigh.
Yeah, something like that. Except not reindeer. So who's inside, who's on the back?
I'll take a seat next to Svieta.
Okay.
And continue our discussion on sounds.
Sure. That means Wodun is probably sitting among... You can see as you sort of sit amongst it, there is a relatively small delivery, only a few, casks of mead. Normally these deliveries coming out of here would be quite a lot bigger, and that's also reflecting the fact that there's more space in the front here of the sled. Plenty of room, of course, for Carnelian as well. So...
I mean, maybe plenty of room for him regardless.
Regardless, yeah. But definitely more so now. So you get underway from Goodmead, heading out to the north. If you refer to the map that you took a look at, you're looking at heading north until you hit a crossroads, which would go to Bryn Shander and East Haven. And then you would be going into, hopefully spending the time going to Cardinaval and Carconig eventually over the course of the next couple of days. Okay.
Yeah.
Svieta, roll me a handle animal check.
I will.
Handle them animals.
Handle them.
Oh, yeah. 19.
19. Okay, so
She's the pack leader.
just before you are going, you do go and inspect the dogs, make sure they're in good health.
Established dominance.
Established dominance.
She used calm, assertive energy.
They're a bit taken aback by you're a giant cat lady. but
Didn't think this through, did we?
they do. They seem pretty excited and ready to go.
Check
So
their tiny dog booties that they would probably have.
dog goodies. And eventually you get onto the back and you're underway. Looks like you're having good, smooth control. You're able to sort of direct them where you need, and you're heading north. You're heading north in relatively clear weather. By the time you get underway, it's coming into mid to late morning now. Even possibly coming into midday. Let's see. Yep. Okay. You're making your way, and you're making good progress So I'd say within a few hours, and you've got this sort of landscape that stretches out. As you're leaving Goodmead, you can see the evergreen forest off to what would be your left in the cart, but on the map would be east. No? West. I'm good with directions.
Yeah.
As it recedes away. It's not a particularly big forest, but it's a good, it's a big enough forest that it's on your horizon for a long time as you leave. And then to your east now, not west, is what's called a frozen over river called the Red Waters. And the road takes you sort of in between and out to more open fields and sort of snow-covered hills. You make your way, making good progress until you hit a crossroads. As you start approaching, you might slow down. It's now coming into just after midday. So if you wanted to stop, you could, just for a break. It makes a logical spot to stop. Whether you do or not, you get underway again because you would either be going east or west, regardless of whatever city, but you're looking at going straight north.
Yeah.
Roll me another hand landing check.
I would like to start playing my viola and give you some
Sure.
inspiration.
Oh, I think you.
I wonder if there's any. Is there any sort of I don't know if in that sound set there's any sort of travel music. But now you're gonna have to mix in viola, so have fun with that.
Would that give me a D4?
So you get a D6, which you can use to increase it, but you don't have to roll the D6 immediately.
Okay.
You could make the roll and then reuse a d6. That's only
For
lasts
the
10
next
minutes.
10 minutes, you can add 1d6 to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw.
So what I'll say is that because it's over the course of a few hours, but I think maybe getting a handle on the animals early on will help you sort of smoother, so I'll let you use that for this as well.
Yeah, I think we would stop for a bit, have a break.
But I mean, Carnelian would probably play for the duration.
Yeah.
Well, actually, while that's happening, and this might be a good point, if you do stop at the crossroads just to take a break,
Yeah.
I will let you guys have a short rest if you would like at that point.
Yeah.
Which means any abilities that come back. So for those listening that aren't maybe particularly aware, D&D is sort of broken up. The adventuring is sort of broken up apart from being in encounter mode, which is battle, and the sort of exploration mode, which is out of combat. But it's otherwise broken up into short or long rests. You can only have one long rest in a 24-hour period, or you can only get the benefits of a long rest once in a 24-hour period, which represents usually sleeping at night. And a short rest is typically, is about an hour. Certain class abilities from different people will come back on a short rest or a long rest, depending on what they are. And some abilities are just there all the time. I believe the healer feat that we were talking about, people that were healed with it before the short rest can now be healed again at least once.
Correct. Once between rests.
Excellent. So any of those come back. Any healing you want to do via your own natural healing comes back as well.
Yeah, I'll use up my hit die,
Okay.
get point back, and I get my shifting ability back.
Okay, so since you're at level 1, you have 1 hit die to spend, so go ahead.
It's a minimum of 2, and I was only down 2 hit points.
Okay, so either way
I'm
you'll
good
get
to
the
go.
So when you said you did have a cut on your arm, you meant
It was
to...
literally a cut. It was some sort of war wound,
Oh,
like
no.
Wodun.
Wodun, how far down were you on your hit points?
3 out of 10 down.
Okay. It was pretty...
How did I miss
That's
that?
a rough cut.
I call myself a doctor.
It's not a
Easy,
bad
good.
Well,
Easy to miss. Easy to miss.
To be fair, Wodun probably doesn't want to show that he's been hurt necessarily. Only the scars of battle afterwards. Alright. So you were able to take that rest. You get underway again. Roll me that handle animal check. You can benefit from the... What is it called?
Bardic Inspiration.
Bardic Inspiration.
I think I might use that bardic inspiration.
Okay. Do you, sorry?
I shouldn't have, because it was 10 on the die, so 15.
15.
I mean,
It's not bad.
That's all right. Okay. Yes, so, look, it's... You've probably not quite got as much of a handle on us as we had earlier on after the break, but you still have a good... You're still sort of working in rhythm with the dogs. They're a bit fidgety and antsy. Like, obviously, they've been running hard for a couple hours, had a rest, and they're ready to go again. These are working dogs, so they do really like to run out in the open. But you get underway again, and you start making your way. It's a couple hours, and since leaving the east way, the weather was clear for as far as the eye could see. But now, as you're underway again, you start seeing off in the distance, there are some clouds that have come down from the spine of the world to the south, and they're starting to really start to roll over and threaten. And you can see it almost approaching from the riverway. Anyone who's... I'm not going to allow Svieta to do this because she's distracted with the dogs, but anyone else that has proficiency in survival? Anyone?
Yep.
Carnelian does.
Anyone with proficiency in survival, please roll me a survival check.
That is cocked. That is a 4.
I want to... Yeah, what was the totals?
The total would be a 7.
Wodun?
6.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Good
Oh,
instincts.
no.
Give me one sec.
Noticing everyone,
Eyes
checking the
of a
wind.
hawk.
Can I check the wind?
Do you have proficiency in survival?
No.
You
So-
just like lick your finger. You're like,
So for those
Yep,
that,
it's blown.
for those listening, skill checks can be done untrained, but sometimes I think they require a bit of expertise, so I'll ask for proficient people to make certain checks. In this particular case, I think you need to be a bit proficient with survival to maybe notice. It looks like it's getting pretty cloudy, but you think it'll be fine next couple hours at least, So you're rolling along, no one says anything, and you're going at full tilt, heading north.
We never said that. We never said we were going full tilt.
Yeah, you're going full tilt. You are now. The dogs are pulling you
going
along.
full tilt.
Whoa!
You're at a point now where you are going over what would be like almost like a ridge, even that there is.
Whoa!
It. Wow. There is. It's not like it's a thin like sheer drop to either side, but there is. From the map that you can see to the left and right of you. If you go too far, there is a drop.
Ooh.
Right. One that leads into that would roll you eventually into the lake, and the other one that might roll you off into a pretty dangerous situation. And as you're sort of in the middle of this, the clouds come in further and become darker. And even Svieta now, even having to handle the dogs, starts seeing that the weather is starting to turn. Svieta, do you have proficiency in survival? Roll me a survival check, please.
Roll for temps.
Roll with disadvantage because you're dealing with these dogs as well.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah, 9.
9. You have concentrating on the dogs makes it hard for you to really take a gauge. You don't know if you're in trouble immediately, or if you've got a couple hours to still make some time. What do you do?
I look back at actually Carnelian being the. Would you consider yourself reptilian looking if you're furry?
He's just him.
No, in just basics of kobolds. Like, do you look
He has like a snout, a
colder
muzzle.
than usual?
Hmm?
Do you look colder than usual? Like more discomforted by the winter than usual?
I don't know, am I?
I would say kobolds definitely feel it more than other races, probably being similar in that sort of reptilian vein. You don't get any special disadvantages from being in winter, but I would certainly say that Carnelian's feeling it probably more than most.
Yeah, I'll probably reel the dogs back a bit, but it's still going quite fast. But
Okay.
just a little
You start
slower
slowing
than full
down?
tilt.
Okay, you start slowing down. As you do so, you start running for another 10 minutes, and you are watching those clouds darken, and then sheeting in across from the lake, you see almost what could be described as a wall of white that has kicked up and started to form. And before you can really do much about it, this blizzard slams into the cart. And we will find out what happens next week.
Oh no, not the blizzard!
Is that right? Interesting.
Yes.
Svieta.